So I'm gonna try to pull the video off like this because I want to do this, and I'm gonna see if I can pull it off as much as I can. But I know for a while about the Shenandoah he's passing, and it got me thinking about one thing um, a while back. Now I don't know if anyone remember this, but at one point Kevin Smith was going to do um, uh, a Mallrats 2, and I had this crazy idea because I don't think it ever got off the ground because I know there's some people who were supposed to be back in the movie and there's some people who weren't, and it was going to be awesome about that. So I had this crazy thought of a script idea, and I don't know if anybody's willing to see this case of it, but if anybody passes off to Kevin Smith, y'all a G for that. So here's the pitch. We know since Shanna's passing for her character in the movie, in the first movie, she was the girlfriend to Brody, uh, Jason Lee's character. Last time we saw Jason Lee's Brody was in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Now I know Kevin's doing another Jay and Silent Bob movie. Um, Here's the thing: he has a comic book shop, and I think it's in the mall. Funny enough, what if the movie attached to Shannon's passing? They've done this before with character passed in the main part of the movie, but it was a character who was never played. So here's the pitch. I have an idea in the sense of it. Brody goes to the funeral of his girlfriend, Shannon Doherty's character. He meets up with a few other people. Now, I don't know if Michael Landon would come back. I don't know if Claire Foriani would come back and all that. So they would have a funeral, and they find out that he was going to propose to her, but then she passed. Um, or they were already married and they passed. They never had kids. He realizes since that passing, he's now trying to make himself do things better. But at the same time, he owns a comic shop relevant from Jay and Silent Bob reboot. He finds out when his comic book in the comic book shop at the mall is the mall that the comic book shop is in is going to close because most cases malls have not been relevant for a while now because of the fact that online shopping's existence. So a lot of stores in the mall are closing. At the same time, while he's working there, he's starting to work with a few. His comic book shop is employed with younger kids who don't see the same eye as he does as he used to back in the mall. So now he's the old, back in my days type of guy, but more hip in the sense of it. So he's doing that, and he's talking about, there were moments where the mall had some memory. We need to make sure that stay relevant, or some cases, otherwise it's not working. Some stuff spiel like that. Then at one point, there's like a corporation that's telling him like, we're shutting this place down. The city's planning on shutting this mall down, so there's nothing left in the mall anymore because most of the places are closed and stuff. Brings relevance to certain parts of the movie that was from the first movie, whether it's a kid from the escalators meeting a comic book artist, since Stan Lee isn't here anymore, of course, and stuff. And he even making a joke about the fact I met Stan Lee once, and they're like, yeah, sure, right, and I met the president of the United States, like a joke like that. Then there's moments where he's like, he's doing random stuff of it. And at one point, he's like, you know what? If I'm not going to be here at the mall anymore, we need to make sure we can save this comic shop. Maybe move it to another location if it comes to that. That could be the spoiler ending where they couldn't save them all, but he's able to find a location, and it happens to be Jay and Silent Bob's current comic shop in Red Bank, New Jersey. His Jay and Kevin's real shop location. That could be something in the case of it. We might tie it in because most I know in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the original location for Brody's comic shop was the original location for Jay and Silent Bob's comic shop. They just switched the signs. That's all they did. It was Jay's and Silent Bob's real life comic book shop. Um, some people in the movie coming back, still having some relevancy. Like, Ethan Suplee works at a television show place, and they have someone puts up a magic eye screen. And it calls back from the rabbit and stuff. Cases. There's a guy who's dressed as the Easter Bunny. The little girl, the young girl, the teenage girl who's underage, who was doing those sex experiment stuff. And if Ben Affleck, since Ben and Kevin are still friends, he can even come back as Buttman, Shannon. Getting revenge on Brody for getting him locked up and stuff. Scenario stuff like that. Michael Rooker being back. All these relevant situations that deal with the mall that still has some relevancy. Jay and Silent Bob even coming back, of course. Joey Lauren Adams, only this time she doesn't have to show her nips. She's a mom now, you know. Or if Shannon's not coming back, you know, have Ben play what's his name, Holden. You know, him with her, since obviously him and Joey are now co-parents. With you know, Jason Mewes' daughter being relevant now. You know, stuff like that. You know, hell, Harley Quinn Smith playing the daughter of the young teenage girl, you know, because of the experiment going wrong. Stuff like that. You know, stuff that would be relevant. There's still something immaterial for Mallrats 2 to still be a thing. And that's the thing that I'm saying. I'm like, if it would be awesome. But at the same time, the most important part is honoring Shannon. That would be a great way. All that would tie in to Shannon's character's death, since Shannon's passing. And Kevin, I know, is good friends with Shannon, and he took her passing a lot. And I think it would be awesome to honor her along with those characters in that relevancy, like he did with Clerks 2 and 3. It didn't use that same elements of when people growing old. Things aren't in the 90s as they used to be anymore. Everyone's getting older now. Things have changed since then. That would be the great way of doing things like that. I personally feel like that. Hell, you can even tie some cases, Shannon's door, he's, you know, her character's a relationship with another person to bring relevance to his character, to Jason's character, Brody. You know, like Brody finds a new love interest, someone who's friends with Shannon's character, who had a thing for him, and wants to help him mourn about her passing. Stuff like this, in honor of Shannon. I think it would be genius to do that. So, I don't know. I'm scatterbraiding, but maybe that's an optional thing, if you know what I mean. Just a thing. Again, feel free to pass it to Kevin Smith, or not. It's up to you.